Erica's not gonna take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, I just, it was,
So I asked Mike if there was any, well, how much it was there any other info? He said, yes. This is our second property.
you.
Hey, Andrew, hello. All right, perfect.
Are you all set up to record?
Yes, I'm all set to record.
Do we have a attendance record for you?
I just wrote down everybody's name. Andrew's here, Lindsay's here, and I'm Rob Pettit.
Demetrius.
Demetrius, hi. Nice to meet you.
I just spit so much information at Demetrius and like 45 minutes, his head's probably spinning. So
All right.
welcome.
Right on. Well, good.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
So what,
I will see you soon.
after our meeting, so what we were gonna discuss was a provisional broker addendum.
Yeah.
So that'll be the first thing we'll talk about here, because we have a couple of brand new provisional brokers as well anyway.
Okay, cool.
So it's good timing. All right, good morning. Hi, everybody. All right, we're gonna get started here in a few minutes. We'll just wait a few more minutes. We have two people in the office today, Demetrius and Lindsay. So we're just gonna wait just one more minute so we can see if anybody else signs on, and then we'll get our provisional broker meeting started. Demetrius, I wrote down my name and phone number on that, so you want to put that, save that in your phone, so you have that, so you can, so we just have some quick access there if you ever have any questions or anything. And okay, we're going to get started. So today's September 8th, if you can believe that already. Crazy. This month, this year is flying by. So how we run our provisional broker meetings is I like to start off with a welcome and an agent introduction, kind of just something real quick. And we also want to start off, share with that a win that you've had over the past 2 weeks. And a type of win could be, hey, hello, come on in. So we're just saying how we start off our meetings is I like everybody to share a win, something that they've done successfully over the past 2 weeks. That could be as simple as talking to somebody in your database and letting them know you're in real estate, going on a listing appointment or getting a listing, going under contract. So that's what I really want to start with because we're kind of all in the same situation. Provisional brokers starting to figure out your business. How are we getting leads? What's working? What's not working? Then we're going to talk about, I have 3 items we'll talk about today. We're going to talk about the provisional broker addendum, just so we can review that, because we have a handful of new people. A safety app that's available through the MLS in your super key, since September is Agent Safety Month. And then we're going to talk about some negotiating tips, some words that we should not use when we're negotiating, because even though we're brand new, you can still, when you're meeting with people, if you don't know the answer, you write down the question and you can go and determine and find out what it is. But some of these answers, some of these words that we'll eliminate today, like no or but, just stuff like that. And we'll talk about some other words we can replace it with to help us maybe get that listing or maybe help us get that contract accepted. So first thing, my name is Rob Pettit. I am your broker in charge. My job is for active and direct supervision on all your files so that we are always in compliance with the North Carolina Real Estate Commission. So we're making sure we're using the right forms, the updated forms, and that they're filled out, initialed, signed in the proper places, and that they're all done correctly. If you ever have a problem, or if there's an error or something going on with a transaction that you have, I want you to notify me immediately, because my job is to intervene, investigate, and attempt to remedy. If my emotions aren't involved in the transactions, what's the ultimate goal? Is to have the buyer and the seller come to an agreement and to someone to move into and sell their house. So ultimately, that's my goal. Realistically, I know when agents and buyers or sellers' emotions run really high. So I try to be the mediator to try and remedy any problems, get things resolved. Let's get to a resolution. Let's get to a closing. That's ultimately is what the main factor is. So we're going to start around. We're going to go round robin. We'll start with the people on the computer. Rob, you're the first one in my left-hand corner. So good morning. Can you share a win that you've had with us? Since you've been with us, and maybe just tell us how long you have been with us in this office.
I think I've been there for a couple, 2-3 months now.
Okay.
And I guess my win since the last meeting was I actually wrote 2 offers on a couple of lots for a builder buyer that I've got. Unfortunately, was one of several offers that were turned in at the same time. So we didn't make it this time, but my wins were at least writing 2 offers.
Absolutely, that's a win. That is a great win. And you came into the office a couple of times, asked me what you were going to do. And now writing offers for a builder, the good part is you get to get that listing after when it comes up at the end. So
That's correct.
Right. So that's a good source of leads that you're chasing. So thank you. Appreciate you sharing that.
Thanks.
Kelly, we're sliding down to you. Can you share a win with us that you've had over the past couple of weeks? I've met with you a couple of times also.
Yeah, good morning, Rob. Good morning, everyone. So I have had a contact in my sphere of influence and had been discussing the potential of buying a new home, have them on a drip campaign. But just last week, I actually went to meet with them at their current home to walk through and get them set up for listing their home as well. So a nice win that I added on to that potential client last week.
Awesome. Good job. And I also know that you were chasing a for sale by owner that you had talked to a couple of times. Tell us how that went.
So I'm still working on it. They're not to the point of where they are ready to list just yet. But the last couple of weeks, I've been continuing to follow up with them, see where they're at, check in on timing. So not giving up on that one yet either, Rob.
Awesome. Good. That's good to hear. Always keep chasing them. Ultimate goal is to get that listing. So great. Good job. Logan, good morning. Can you share a win with us that you've had over the past couple of weeks, please?
We finally were able to go on a listing presentation. We, decided not to take the listing because of them being too far over market value, but it was still good to be able to get out there and, practice what you preach, I suppose.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So you got a face-to-face meeting, and
Yep.
you've been with us for maybe a little over a month. Can you just share, how did you get this appointment? What was this lead source?
We wrote a handwritten letter and sent them out to a neighborhood.
So handwritten letter, how many of those handwritten letters did you send out? Was it 100?
100, yep.
100 handwritten notes to a specific neighborhood, just saying, I'm Logan and his wife, they have a team, joint with Keller Williams. If you ever have any interest or any questions on market value, got a listing appointment, ended up going on it. So great job. Thanks for sharing that, Logan.
Yep.
Hey, Susie, can you share a win with us that you've had over the past couple of weeks, please?
I have several leads that I'm following up with today.
And what are those sources from those leads?
Just my sphere of influence.
Sphere of influence. Okay, good. So people that you just brand new, starting sphere of influence, all those people need to be in your database. Names, phone numbers, email addresses. So that can be a part of your lead generation. That can be part of our setting up drip campaigns and other stuff as we go through with all the technology. But number one step is they must be in your database. And that's just a step some people will skip, but that's most important. Get them in there. That way you have control over your database, and that's where you're going to make some money. All right, good morning, Andrew. Can you share a win with us that you had? I know you're relatively new. Can you just share something positive?
Hey guys, I'm just getting more and more familiar with Command and Connect every day. So I consider that a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Technology, you're going to continue to keep learning and using it that way. So absolutely, that is a win. Thank you, Andrew, for sharing. All right, we're going to go people. We have 3 people in the room. Lindsay, can you share a win with us that you've had, please? Writing an offer this morning, fantastic. So so they're your family. You trust them. Did they sign a buyer agency contract, or you didn't need to because they're your family? They signed a buyer agency contract. Wow, absolutely. Any buyer that you're working with that you put in your car, show a property, buyer agency contract. Awesome. That even if they're your family, even if it's a brother or a sister, it's just crazy. You always have your buyer agency contract. And you know what? If someone says, hey, I don't want you to represent me for all buyers, I just want you to show me just this one property. Like I've had an investor say that, you know, you can set up a buyer agency contract for just that one day and that one showing. So, hey, we'll see if this relationship works. Let's sign a buyer agency for this one showing. So I know who you are, make sure you're pre-approved, go to the showing. If it works out, great. If you don't want to work together, that's fine. But that's a good point that no matter who they are, you're signing that buyer agency contract. Thank you for sharing that. And you've been busy because I just approved a few more of your files and they're right on point. So keep up the good work with that. Awesome job. Okay, Demetrius, can you share a win? I mean, you've been in the office for like 2 hours now, maybe an hour. Just give us something, maybe some of your goals that you have, what you want to do maybe in the next 30 days.
Yeah, within the next 30 days, I have a family member who's moving down, and they want to go look at some houses towards Concord area, so I'm excited to do that. Also have another family member who's ready to list the townhome.
Okay.
So, ready to soak up some information to get those underway.
Awesome. Great. That's the best source of business, right? The sphere of influence, people that already know you and trust you. So great. Congratulations on that. And so good. I'm sure we'll be meeting and talking a lot. If you get a buyer and a listing ready to go, that's awesome. All right. And welcome aboard as well. All right. Hi. And can you share your name? I'm sorry, I forget your name. And Peter, that's right. Okay. Hi, Peter. Last week, I think you joined us, right?
Joined last week, so much like Dan mentioned earlier, Adobe kind of Command and all the tools that Keller Williams offers. I think one of my biggest wins for the week is actually joining this office.
Awesome. Okay.
Everybody I've met thus far has good energy. I'm getting good ideas, good tips. Oh, can't wait. Okay.
Yeah.
What neighborhood do I want to market? So I think that's my win for the week.
Great.
Working all that information, kind of making my marketing.
Yep.
Building my marketing plan with that strategy.
Awesome. I love to hear it. Yeah, you have to start somewhere. So building that base, you're starting with you have your name, you have your business cards, you have your email addresses. You got to tell people that you're a part of it. People just, you don't know. You think that they should know them automatically, but just because you post it on Facebook, not everyone's there. You got to call and make that. So great. Those are certainly wins. That's the most important part starting off as well too, because you got to meet with people. Those are your lead sources. That's why I want to hear these different lead sources. We have builders, we have family, sphere of influence, open house leads, for sale by owner. So there's a lot of different sources for you to use. We just have to make sure that we are using it. Okay, so we're going to get into just the provisional broker addendum, our PB addendum. This is real quick, so we can have a conversation about what you are required to do as a provisional broker and what I'm really looking for and what our relationship is. So according to the commission, my job is to supervise, so ensuring that your activities are followed and required underneath the real estate license law. Now, I'm not over your shoulder checking over every single document that you're doing. However, when you submit all your documents for compliance, myself and Terry are reviewing those, making sure that your initials, the signatures, and that the forms are completed properly. So when that is submitted, we look over that. All of your files must be retained by you as the agent yourself for 3 years. So we as the office retain all your files, and that's what I'm responsible for. And those are held in command when those are uploaded and submitted. So if the commission ever comes to us and says, hey, we need to see these files, the files in command, I mean, if you're still with us, that's no problem. You have access to them, but technically those are owned by Keller Williams. So always make sure that you have your own separate files as well. So you have a record of that, because if the commission comes and say, I want to see what's on your file, everything that we require you to submit is what they're going to be looking for. So 3 years, you have to keep a record of all that information. Advertising, I see a lot of really good Facebook posts, a lot of good, some teams that are starting. Logan and Madison have a really cool team, and they're at Keller Williams Realty. So Keller, with our advertising, you have to always make sure that you have the Keller Williams logo. You can still have your own team logo or your own little house or whatever you want to have, but you have the Keller Williams logo. So that ensures that people, the public, know that you are with our firm. You're with Keller Williams, you're a part of our office, and you're underneath our umbrella. So any of your flyers or brochures, marketing, farming, business cards, that type of stuff has that information there. For your first post or your first business cards and logos and signs, please just send over to me for approval real quick. And again, I'm just making sure that it has that Keller Williams logo. Lindsay just sent me hers maybe a couple weeks ago, and they're already in the yard that she has the new listing. So they look really sharp. Again, Keller Williams logo, so it's not a blind ad. Agency. This is required. So the first time you have any contact with a client or a customer at any type of real estate conversation, you're going to have that working with real estate agents. That form just lets you know, are you the seller's agent? Are you the buyer's agent? What are my responsibilities to work with you? Now, when you work with a buyer and you're showing any properties, or you're going to write any offers, the exclusive buyer agency, that form 201, that must be submitted. If you're writing an offer for a client, you can have them sign the buyer agency form. That's a requirement for our office because it protects you and it also protects the firm. When you get a listing, you have them sign the exclusive right to sell form 101. If it's a vacant land or a new construction, those are those additional forms, but your exclusive right to sell states that you represent the seller and you're going to do the following activities to market the property for a given price and for a given length of time. And to earn a commission. You know, right, we're all in real estate. The sellers pay the commission at the time of the closing. So you earn your commission when those deeds are recorded at closings. Effective after July 1st of this year, all provisional brokers must have all 3 post-licensing courses done within 18 months. This is classes 301, 302, and 303. They can be done online now. That's all approved. So making sure that you stay on top of those post-licensing courses. I would suggest you get into production so you have some experience. There's only so much learning that you can do in the books and online, because what's being taught there doesn't necessarily mean that's what happens in the field. So get some transactions under your belt. Learn what's gonna through some of these experiences, and you can take these classes online when you have time, but you have 18 months to complete all of those. Continuing education must be completed by June 10th every year. 8 hours, 4 of them are to be as an elective, and 4 hours are your Gen Up. Though again, now those are all online as well too. So you can take those online. Those must be done by June 10th. State privilege license, that's the way the North Carolina Department of Revenue gets a hold of your license. It's $50. That renews every single year on July 1st as well. Phone duty and Ignite classes and other training classes that we have, I'm going to certainly encourage you to do those. But the phone duty, you're downstairs. There have been walk-ins. There have been people that are coming in taking phone calls. It's another time that you can still lead generate there. You can do stuff on the computer. I'm going to encourage you to do that. If that's another way also to get you into the office. The Ignite classes and other training and formal classes that we have, you're going to hear different strategies and different ideas that some agents have. Not everything is the same for every agent. Some people call for sale by owners and are just like really strict to the point. Some of them call for sale by owners and say, hey, I got a buyer. Can I come look at it and build that relationship? So there's no right or wrong way. You're just going to hear what that agent says. Keller Williams, we share what we do. So if you can use it, make it your own. I mean, I've used the same exact script since day one. And it's, if I can net you what you're looking to make using our services, would that interest you? Now I'm calling it for sale by owner. And if so, what does that question mean? If I can net you, we know what net means, right? Net means what the seller's going to get after expenses. So I'm asking for sale by owner. If I can put in your pocket what you're looking to make after all your expenses, and I do all the work, would that interest you? If they say no to that, they didn't understand what I said, or they're just not that bright. So it's just, that's just the way it is. So when you're lead generating, you're calling to make an appointment to get face-to-face. We heard Logan say he turned down a listing because it was overpriced. We talked about it and they wanted a ridiculous amount of money. Kelly, when she talked about that, we talked about pricing with that for sale by owner. They wanted a certain amount. We couldn't realize that value until she went over there. That guy had an amazing pool and not one single photo of his pool. And there was no record or notice of it. So it's so important to go on these appointments because that's when you see it. Once you're on those appointments, you should be prepared to take those listings because you've done your homework and you're prepared. So we'll talk about that as a lot of those classes, but that's what I want you to get out of those classes, that people are trying to make these, your entire goal is to make an appointment. Because even in today's, even though if it's tougher, you're doing stuff on Zoom and all that stuff, you can still meet face-to-face. Wear a mask, bring your hand sanitizer, make sure that people are comfortable, social distance, but you still have to see these properties. PB meetings, we're here on the hour before our team meetings on the second and fourth Tuesday. We're here right now. Thanks for showing up. Again, we'll just, this is required by the commission, so I have records of that I'm supervising you, that I'm getting in front of you. Again, I like when you set up meetings with me. My door's open at all times, so come and visit me anytime. Set up a one-on-one appointment, just drop in. I have no problems with that. But these provisional broker meetings, we have topics, and it keeps me in front of you guys. At the end, we'll keep it for question and answer, any hurdles that you're having, and we'll go from there. Canopy MLS, I have already sent in the majority of your people stuff. Once you sign on, if we add your license to the Real Estate Commission's website, and then you sign the paperwork for the Canopy MLS. So I submit that, you get a copy of that. We're going to talk about that today, a part of the MLS where you have a super key. That's the key that opens up all the doors and opens the lock boxes. And there's a safety standard that we have on that app that we're going to talk about today. So that's a part of MLS, part of those fees. You have to pay those quarterly fees, and I will stay on top of you to make sure you pay those, because if you guys don't pay your MLS fee, our whole office will get shut down. So I have to make sure everybody pays that, and everybody. So that's our provisional broker addendum that I wanted to talk about. So now we're going to slide into this next part over here about this app. Hang on, can you get it? Okay, so this is since September is the safety month for realtor safety, and I'm sure you've seen some or you've read some disturbing articles or what happened to some people, some real estate agents, because some real estate agents, they drive a really fancy car, or if it's someone that maybe looks vulnerable, wearing high heels, or someone that they think that they could easily overtake. So September is a safety month. We have what's called the red folder downstairs in the office. If you ever would call the office and call the main desk and said, "Hi, I need the red folder on 123 Main Street." That's code for that you're in trouble for downstairs, where they should call 911. Okay. If you don't have that ability to call somebody because you've been attacked or you're injured or something, Canopy MLS has this safety setup that you can put into your in your phone. So it's already in the Supra. So you have the Supra key already, the Supra app already downloaded. And what you can do is you can set up an alert. So when you open up the app, you just go into settings and you set up alert, check enable services, and enter the contact names. I think it just pulls it right from your address book. Enter the email address and enter a message. So now you can send alerts discreetly using the Super E key or alert button if you had an Apple iWatch, or right on your phone, right to the people and your notifications that you set up. Okay, So this is a free feature. It's in the app, and it sends that alert to designated contacts when you, so you can confirm that you are safe. Okay, so to get this feature, to follow this feature, so this is another thing where you set up where in the app, you go to settings and you put your agent safety. You put in your 4-digit PIN, agent safety settings. You select yes to access your contacts, and then select enable automated safety check. So what that does here is, so when you go to your showing, you're gonna go to your showing, and before you go in, you select set a safety timer. So you're on the showing and all the information is in the Super app, and you set this timer and you say how long you're gonna be at the property. So, I mean, again, if you're ever meeting a buyer at a property, you first want to meet them here at the office. That's your number one goal. So you know who they are, you see their face, you have a copy of their driver's license. So now, right, what happens if someone says, hey, I'm right in front of this property, I want to see it. New people sometimes, new agents, hey, I'm busy, I'm available, I'm not busy, I can shoot out there and show the property or something like that. That's a no-no, but I've done it before. I mean, you want, hey, possible I want to buy this house. Let's see what I can go out there. Okay, so say that's the case. We prefer you to meet in the office, but you're at the showing. Set your safety timer, how long you're going to be in your property. Select the contacts from your phone and start the safety timer. So now this is in your phone. So you're setting a time. If you're there for an hour, if you're going to, whatever it is, you want to set it up. If you're not sure, maybe in 15 minutes or 30 minutes. But whether you're hurt or not, it'll be, you set your safety timer, and then you can stop the timer or you can add more time as you go. But if it expires, then a text message is sent to your emergency contacts. So that could be someone in the office, or that could be me, the broker in charge. It could be your husband or your wife or a friend. So if that happens, in case of a distress, they send a text message, or if you're okay, you would send them that you're okay. But this timer here, this app, or this feature, I mean, whether you're injured or not, if you say you're going to be there in an hour and you get injured, and then after an hour nobody hears from you, that's an alert automatically being sent out to somebody that is in your contact database. So how about that? Do we like that? Isn't that kind of cool? Just an extra second feature, especially you read these articles. Even at open houses, people are vulnerable. You know, a lot of people, you get busy, you're not paying attention. So I would do that for an open house. I would certainly do that if I was meeting somebody that I never met before. That's always just one extra step, one extra precaution that you should take to cover yourself. Has anybody ever used that? Has anybody ever used that before? Okay, good. Well, that's certainly a good benefit. So start using that. I'm going to talk about that at today's meeting as well, just so people have that idea. But I just think that that's a really cool feature that you can do. Just kind of discreetly set it up where, oh, and look at that. It also said, so it's enabled when you're near the property, when you're within 2,000 feet of the property. So like when you're like, what's that? Like in the front yard, maybe you're pulling the driveway, and when you're at the property, it's enabled. So that's a pretty cool feature while you're there. Okay, moving on. Our last bit of what I want to talk about here is negotiating. So have you ever been in negotiating where everything seems to be going well and it falls apart for no apparent reason? There's thousands of reasons why deals can go wrong, but there are 7 seemingly innocuous words that often cause negotiations to fall apart. Eliminating these words from your negotiating vocabulary will help you be stronger and more confident at the negotiating table. So the list below might surprise you because we use these words constantly. The examples highlight negotiating instances as well as client interaction, and because clients want to see your negotiating prowess all the time. When you're negotiating, these words make you sound weak, indecisive, and unsure of yourself. So here are words to avoid and what to say instead of these words. Now, this is negotiating where, let's even just talk about like when you're meeting with a for sale by owner, or you're meeting with a buyer client right from the beginning, setting expectations. Or you're already under contract and you're dealing with the other agent, or you're dealing with your buyer or seller about something that's going on. But what's really, think about it right now is like, even when we're at a listing appointment, I'm at a listing appointment, these are words that we don't want to use. Also, another fact, we have this program called BOLD in Keller Williams, and it's just a coaching and training program. A lot of these words are eliminated right from day one. It's but and try. So they're going to be in here as well too. So if you've taken BOLD, they're not made up. This is where they got it from. Another thing that we used to do in BOLD is we have like a BOLD bracelet or something that's going to get your mind, because you're always thinking, we're always using these words, they're so common. So if you use the word but, or if you use the word no, or use the word try, just give yourself a little slack. That's kind of just get your mind thinking, we want to train your brain to start using the right words. Okay, so the word but negates whatever comes before it. So for example, let's say you're at a listing appointment and the comparable sales show the maximum price for a property is $275, but your sellers are convinced their property is worth at least $300. Many agents would use the words but to respond. And let's see how that goes. I appreciate that you believe your house is worth $300,000, but the sales comparisons show the most you will be able to get is $275. The word but negates your comment about appreciating their opinion. It also says, I'm right and you're wrong. So when you make yourself feel right and the seller's wrong, chances are you're not getting a listing, especially if you're at a for sale by owner. So a simple way to avoid but is to use and. That's what we say in BOLD as well. I appreciate your opinion that your house is worth $300,000 and the sales comparison shows the maximum value of $275. Would you mind sharing how you came up with $300,000? Is there a comparable sale or something that I missed? You are saying and, you're listening to what they say. Just that switch of one small word shows that you're listening, and now you just need some more justification, because you can justify $275 in your and you're asking politely, is there something that I've missed or that you can show me? So you can use the same script and substitute the word however for and. So however, the sales comparables are showing a max of $275. So by using and or however combined with a question, you avoid making the sellers wrong while you also find out how they reach their price. So if you have to justify how you get to $275, you're asking them politely, how are they justifying how they got at $300,000? Okay, the second word is can't. Can't is ambiguous. For example, when an agent says, I can't go door knocking, do they mean like I am physically unable to go door knocking? Like, do they not have the ability to walk up to each door? Do they not have legs? Is it illegal in my area to door knock? Some neighborhoods say no solicitation. They'll call the cops on you immediately if you door knock. Or is it I do not want to go door knocking? So what COVID has taught us that when people say can't, they're really saying I choose not to engage in this behavior. So they often use can't to cover up their real intention. So Henry Ford summed this up best when he said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So rather than being ambiguous by using can't, when you're negotiating, lay out clear options and choices. For example, tell your buyers they can't, instead of telling your buyers they can't expect the sellers to fix every little thing on the inspection report, you can respond by, what are the most important items you would like repaired from the inspection report? And here's a slightly different approach. Sometimes sellers would prefer to give buyers a credit for the repairs. If the sellers were to offer a credit, what number would you be willing to consider? So both questions have the buyers considering additional alternatives to having the sellers do all the repairs. When the sellers come back with what they're willing to do, reaching an agreement will be easier because you already have had the buyer consider other possibilities. All right, our third word, hope. We don't want to hope because it makes you sound weak. Mr. Seller, I hope I can find you a buyer, or I hope I can find you a house. I hope we can get your house sold as quickly as possible. Now let's compare that statement to one from Terry McDaniel, who's been in business for almost 50 years. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put on my battle armor and go to war for you. We're going to go out there and find the best buyer who is willing to pay the best price. Is that okay with you? So here what you're doing is you're clearly stating what you will do rather than hoping things will work out. So now I probably wouldn't use the battle armor one, but what I did was there, when they say, well, how fast can we get your house sold or how can you sell it? I would say, Mr. Seller, these are the items that I'm going to do. And I had a small one-page item. I'm going to hire a professional photographer and get your house, have professional photos and a virtual tour. I'm going to market and send that to all buyers agents because they're working with qualified buyers. I'm going to do an open house. I'm going to have my agents come through with an office broker tour. I'm going to submit an ad through Facebook and do Facebook advertising with a paid ad campaign for one day. Or for 1 week. So when you're giving specific what you're doing, items what you're doing, that's going to justify how you're going to get the house sold. Those are the tactics that you're going to use. And it's saying, I hope that a buyer comes through, as you've heard PJ say, the three P's, you know, and you put it in the MLS, you put up a sign, and then you pray. So you don't want to do that, or you don't want to hope. The last P, if you say, is prospect. That's what you do. That's different. Prospect. But we're not hoping. We're being specific on what we're doing. All right. If also makes you sound weak and less confident. Instead, substitute when. If we get an offer, then we'll da-da-da. Well, you'd say, when we get an offer, here are the next steps we will take. So you're implying that when you do your job, you're going to get activity. You're going to get an offer. The buyer seems to give up before even presenting the offer. So your offer is so low that I don't know if the sellers will even consider it. That's what a buyer's agent would say to a buyer if they think that their offer is low. Even though you're making a low offer, I'm going to do everything I can to persuade the sellers to take it, right? Isn't that much better to say? And me as a seller's agent, if I got a really low offer, like ridiculously low offer, I would still present that. I would tell that buyer's agent, yes, send me that. I would rather present the seller with a low offer than no offer, right? They're going to be mad at you if you don't have an offer, right? Where's an offer? Give me an offer. They're going to be mad at you if you present a low offer. Same exact thing. So I'd rather present a low offer than no offer. Maybe it'll go together, maybe it won't, but that's good. That's like something you want to say to a seller and something that you say to the buyer. Even though you're making a low offer, I'm going to do everything I can to persuade the sellers to take it. I mean, it's up to you how much you're going to persuade, but we know what we need to do to make a strong offer. So when you're making a strong offer as a buyer's agent, what's the worst that the seller can do? They can say no. They can make a counter offer and be like, whoa, maybe that is a little bit more realistic. I've had buyers make a real low offer, and so my seller made a really low counter offer, like $100. Say it was $50,000 less the listing price, and that's what the offer came in. So I said, Mr. Seller, it's okay, we got a low offer. It's better than no offer. Let's make a ridiculously low counter. So we countered $100, and then they increased their price like $25,000. And then my seller reduced his price $25,000. We ended at $175. Some people just want to play that game. So, but it's better than if they didn't send that offer over, we would have never known we were going to end up at 175 when, hey, that's what it is. Numbers talk. That's what it was. But no one wanted to admit it until you actually got what came over. So let's eliminate if and talk about like it's going to happen when we get an offer. Okay, no. Definitely don't want to say no, because then we're implying no, we're not going to do this. So the Ritz-Carlton has a policy that their staff never tells a guest no, or they're not able to do something. Although there are times when you absolutely must say no to violate the law or to do something unethical, most situations can be addressed without using no or not. So last week, the sellers turned down an offer higher than what you are offering. There's no way they will agree to your price. Okay, that's negative, that's no. But last week, the sellers turned down an offer higher than what you are offering. Let's put on my battle armor and see if I can make your price happen for you. Here's another example of when you show the seller definitely will be taking a dining room fixture because it's a family heirloom and the buyer wants it. The dining room fixture is a heirloom. In case the seller still wants to take it with them, is there something else we could ask for instead? So in both cases, we're providing alternatives. The answer still might be no, which is okay, but at least you're letting your buyers know you did your best to help them get what they want. So they're not going to get everything, but you're helping them and you're coaching them up and telling them that these are our options. They still may say no, but you're still going to go to bat for them. All right, should. So have you noticed how often people use the word should? Yeah, most people use the word should to get what they want rather than to listening what matters most to the other person. We also use should as a way to make ourselves feel guilty about our choices. Example, I should go on a diet. Yes, I should go on a diet. To see how prevalent should is in your life, go on a should diet for a week. Notice how you and others should use should. So in most cases, the manipulation ploy is obvious. Once you realize this, do your best to avoid using should in any situation, but especially when you negotiate. The house has been listed for almost a year. The sellers should be thankful to get an offer. That's not going to work. The house has been listed for almost a year. Let's see how much they are willing to take, given how long they have been on the market. So we're not using the word should. I like that. We should go on a should diet. So if I went on a should diet, that means I really should go on a diet. If I did that for 1 week, shed a few pounds. So let's use that. Let's avoid using that word should. And let's talk about being in the present. And then the last word, try. There is no try. People who use the word try when they're uncertain as to whether they can do something. For example, if you tell a seller, I'll try to have your CMA done by 5. What the seller hears is, I will have your CMA done by 5. Eliminate the word try. The secret here is to say what you can definitely get done, not that you will try to do it. I will have the CMA to you tomorrow at 5 p.m. If one of your clients uses try, be direct. I'll try to meet with you on Wednesday to review your CMA. Would Wednesday at 3 p.m. or 7:30 be best for us to meet? I like that because when you're talking to a for sale by owner and you want to pinpoint that exact appointment, do you think we can get together on Friday? On Friday, I'll try to do it. Let's come back and have a specific time. You want to be able to, you want to be in charge of your business and you want to run your own days. You are specific with your time because you have your calendar out. Mr. Seller, I can be with you tomorrow at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock. It's in your calendar. Every Friday at 3 o'clock, I have family time. If a seller said, hey, can you meet me Friday at 4 o'clock? I can't, I have another appointment at that time, but I can meet you Saturday at 10. You have your calendar up, you're in charge of your own days, but you have a lot of options to meet other people. So that's how you're not working at 7 o'clock at night, going to meet people on Friday at 7 at night, because they're not listening. You want to have appointments where you're, someone calls, hey, you call for sale by owner. Yeah, if you can net me that, can you come over right now? I have another appointment. I can see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. You can never go to an appointment, listing appointment that day. You need at least 24 hours to prepare. If you go on an appointment when you're not prepared, then you're really starting from the bottom. So you're already calling. Once you make that appointment, again, that's your goal when you're lead generating, so make the appointment. When you go on that appointment, that's when you really have your A game. You need to be 100% prepared and ready to take the listing there. And that's why we're not using try when we're on the appointment. We're being specific. We're telling people, we said, if I can net you what you're looking to make using our services, would that interest you? And I needed to have the appointment to see the inside of the house. So when I'm in that appointment, I'm not saying if I try, or I'm not playing the what if game. I'm being as specific as possible, telling them what I'm going to do, how I am going to market their property, what I'm going to do to represent them. And when I do all these items, when we get an offer, and then when we negotiate about an offer, or when we negotiate terms, those are all items. Eliminating these words will help you get a listing and eventually continue to go through these listings and negotiate through to get to a closing. So when you are specific, this is your time, I can meet you there. The example above contains an alternative choice, a choice close, which provides 2 options and ask the client to commit to one of them. If the seller is unable to meet at one of those times, follow up by asking a specific time they can meet. If they continue to be evasive, they may not be serious about selling. So I've had a few people, so I'm saying, hey, could I meet you? The sellers say they're willing to have an appointment. Can I meet you tomorrow at 4 o'clock? Well, then they say, well, I'm at work. Well, my next question, what time do you get out of work? And they said, well, so they said 5 o'clock. I say, okay, is it okay if I come by about 5:30? I'll give you enough time to come home. So that was always I picked the time, and if it didn't work for them, they said why it wouldn't work. And then so I just made an alternative time. So be specific, ask for the time. Don't just say, can I come over? Can I come over Friday at 2 o'clock? Is that okay? Be specific. So if you're ready to become a better negotiator, choose one word from this list above and work on eliminating it from your negotiating vocabulary. You can move on to eliminate the next word, and the more you eliminate the words that you eliminate, the more successful your negotiations will be. So this article was done by Bernice Ross. She's on Inman News. I suggest you to go on to Inman News. You can get a free account with them. But they have good real estate insight and just some good words. And when you're always out there looking to learn and absorb new information, Bernice, she's been putting out articles that are I've really enjoyed for the past 18 years I've been in real estate. So she's been in it for a long time. All right, what do we have going on? What are some ahas that we took out of some one of these topics here today? Can anybody share an aha that they've had?
Say what you mean.
I like it.
Just the words that you were describing to avoid. It's always nice to be able to kind of, I guess, show that you're a professional, and just those small things can make a big difference to somebody.
Yeah, Logan, awesome. And Demetrius just said that too. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Use your words cautiously, but you're there to provide value. So thank you for sharing that. If that's what you got out of it, that's absolutely what I want you guys to take out of something different. Use your brains, see what people are saying, see what people are using here in business, what they're doing here in the office, make it your own, put your own little spin to it. But these scripts, these words, these phrases, they're proven, they work. I know they work because you don't have to really overthink them. Your goal when you're lead generating is to make an appointment. When you have a listing and or you're working with a buyer and there's a negotiated item, whether it's an inspection report or the appraisal or a personal property that's included, all this stuff is negotiable. It's not life or death. I mean, you either work out or it won't. I mean, let's keep everybody with the intentions. Hey, your goal as a seller is to sell your house to move on to the next step. Your goal as the buyer is to purchase this property and either live in it or it's going to be an investment property. So this is what's going to rent it out as. Those are the mentalities that we need to have, that we're here to serve our clients, working with all the other realtors with the common goals. Let's get buyers and sellers into the properties that they want. All right, who's got any other questions or any hurdles people have had over the past couple of weeks? Anything that they want to open up or talk to about?
That's a question. Where do you get the brochure?
Okay, great, awesome. So when you sign on with Command, it's Command. So Command links to DocuSign. And so that's what we use when we send documents to clients and they sign. So all your documents are there through DocuSign. And you can print all those out, get copies of those there. There's on the North Carolina Real Estate Realtors website. You have all those documents there well too. You can keep those in a file too. Okay, well, what we have going on for the rest of the day, PJ is going to be starting the team meeting here at 11. He has a whole bunch of good stuff to go over. So we'll take a 14-minute break. And then when they start back up here, I will talk about that safety items and we'll go from there. So thanks for attending. I hope you have a great day. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.